We're going to talk about what you should be doing with your life after a breakup. Now, I can almost assure you that this particular YouTube video, this is not really going to receive a lot of views. And it's a shame because arguably this is one of the most important episodes, videos that you should be watching after a breakup, because so often we're seeing people really don't do a good job of handling their life and figuring out what they want to do with it after a breakup and after they're left reeling from it. What I'd like to do today is really talk about what you should be focusing on no matter what you want to do with your ex. You know, a lot of times people come to us and they want to get their exes back. And there are some people that come to us and want to get over their exes. Well, the things that I'm going to talk about in this video apply to both things. But we're not really talking about an ex. We're talking about you and what you should be doing with your time after the breakup. After a breakup, you're often left reeling. The last place your energy should be going is into your ex. Rather, it should be invested into yourself. The great Warren Buffett says the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you'll earn. So here's the slight problem though. Most people don't really know how to invest in themselves. And it's actually the very reason that I champion the idea of the Holy Trinity. Now, if you aren't familiar, the Holy Trinity refers to the three most important areas of your life: health, wealth, and relationships. Now, there's this constant balancing act between these three categories that goes on. But as a whole, what we've noticed is that the more you invest in yourself, the more attractive you become to your ex and other people outside of your ex. The irony here is the more you invest in yourself, the more you seek to balance the Holy Trinity, the less you actually end up wanting your ex. So no matter what you do, it's a win-win situation. Of course, 90% of the people that I teach the Holy Trinity to don't do it the correct way. I've been really big on this idea of goal setting. Because they didn't set any goal, nothing gets accomplished. And those that do set goals often don't set the right type of goals. Yes, you want something achievable, but when I talk about setting up a foundational goal within health, wealth, or relationships, I'm actually encouraging you to dream. Think about a goal that you know is possible to achieve, but may take your entire life to do it. That's the kind of goal you should be setting for each individual aspect of the Holy Trinity. So what I'd like to do is use myself today as a guinea pig and show you some of the Holy Trinity goals I've set for my life. So you can see, pick it apart, and set your own for your own life. Let's start with health first. Health is defined as the following: workouts, eating healthy, sleeping more, finding a stress outlet, feeling attractive, looking attractive, hydrating properly, hygiene, emotional health. And ideally, your global goal for health should be something that can accomplish all of those things. Now, it doesn't have to technically, but it should be one specific thing that theoretically can. And for me, it's completing an Ironman. You swim about 2.5 miles. Then immediately after you're done swimming, you hop on a bike, you ride the bike for 112 miles. And then after you're done biking, you start running a marathon, 26.2 miles, back to back, no breaks in between. So essentially, by training for an Ironman, you can complete all of your health-based goals. You work out. As a result, because you're sore, you need to start eating more healthy. Because you're training so much, you need to start sleeping more. Because the actual act of working out acts as a stress outlet, you have a stress outlet. Because, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. Well, usually you end up looking more attractive. You lose weight. You kind of do what you need to do. You feel more healthy and you feel more attractive. You feel like you're in a good place emotionally, and that's a great global goal for health. And let's continue by setting up your maximum wealth-based goal. So what is wealth? Wealth is defined as money, social status, possessions, property, jobs, degrees. Personally, I've only ever viewed wealth as a means for financial freedom. Generally, life does become easier if you are able to create wealth for yourself. It's a fact. I've noticed that more arguments occur in marriages over money than anything else, and that's because of the symbiotic nature of the Holy Trinity. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the major categories of the Holy Trinity affect one another in profound ways. Let's look at our marriage example. If you were financially free, then no argument over money ensues with your husband or wife, which in turn makes the relationships aspect of the Holy Trinity stronger. So what's my personal global goal when it comes to wealth? Well, by the end of my life, I want to have made enough money not only for me to live without the threat of not being able to pay my bills, but I want my children to be able to do that too. So by 90 years old, I want to find a way to make $100 million. Here's how I plan on accomplishing it. I obviously run a business at Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, but this is obviously not ever going to come close to generating $100 million. Not even close. But whatever cash it does throw off, I'm going to take 80% of it and invest it in index funds like the S&P 500 or even the total stock market, which usually throws off annual returns of around 9.5 to 10%. Over the course of 50 years, it might be possible with compounding to make the $100 million feasible. But there's just one fly in the ointment. I need to find a way to save $1 million and invest it. And I'm still a long ways from that. Sure, I've got Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, but that alone isn't going to do it. So I've been trying to slowly transition into becoming a fantasy novelist, which seems like an odd choice because usually that doesn't pay very well, but I'm just following my heart. And it's a way to produce a consistent income in tandem with Ex-Boyfriend Recovery. Then maybe over the course of the next 10, 15 years, I can save up $1 million. And then with the power of compounding over 50 years, that $1 million investment suddenly becomes $106,045,537. Not bad, right? So at least that's my overall plan. Somehow find a way to scrounge $1 million together, which still a long ways off, admittedly, but the idea here is to set a global goal that you think over the course of your life you can achieve. And I feel like it's achievable if I set my mind to it. That's the plan. That's the global goal for wealth. What can I say? I shoot for the stars. Let's move on. Let's set up our maximum relationships goal. This is perhaps the most difficult one for me to set a maximum goal on because relationships are often defined as friends, family, lovers, colleagues, teachers, pets, things like that. And one of the things I'm really known for is my championing of this concept called the sphere of influence. The argument is that oftentimes the people whose opinions really matter to you are those closest to you. They are your sphere of influence. For me, my global relationships goal is to cultivate a sphere of influence that enriches my life to the maximum. So I'm looking to surround myself with 5 human beings whose guidance and friendship allow me to grow myself as a human being. So I feel like I've almost gotten to the point where I've achieved the maximum goal for relationships. I have my wife who's my life partner. I've got my kids who have really taught me patience. I've got my father who served as the best teacher I've ever had. I've got my brother who's loyal to a fault. And I've actually got my artist friend Simon who's an amazing collaborator and loyal friend. Now, most people look at the relationships aspect and only think of the romance of it, but it's actually deeper than that. I prefer to look at it as a whole. And here's the thing. I'm intense about who I let into this circle. The moment someone gives me a reason to doubt their ability to enrich my life, I have no problem dropping them. When it comes to your life, I feel like you have the right to be selfish. You have the right to cut people out if they're going to weigh you down or steal from you or take from you. And yes, that goes for your ex as well. If at the end of this exercise, you're finding that they aren't enriching your life in some way, cut them out. You absolutely have the right to do that. When I'm talking about the Holy Trinity, I'm talking about your life. How do you want the end of your life to look? Do you want to be miserable in a relationship for 10 years with someone who's taking from you, stealing from you, being rude to you, putting you down? Or do you want to find someone different? Me, I want people around me that are going to somehow help me learn and grow as a human being. And if you don't have that, then maybe that's what you should be spending your relationships goal on.